in school. Never mind what your parents told you. Disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. When your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now.
Thank you. We have a live studio audience today. Last week we had a dead studio audience, and it wasn't nearly as funny. It was funny, but
wasn't as good, huh?
Well, they were still here as of this morning, and they were starting to smell.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No, dead bodies. 199 dead bamboo. Can't talk. 99 dead baboons.
Eesh.
Lying in my living room. Anyways, it's September 13th, not Friday the 13th. It's Thursday the 13th, but it's 2018, and we're in the Freedom Studios. We're on the 15th floor, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Of the Patriot Towers in Liberty City. Do you know where we're at, Nate?
Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma, Washington, my favorite city.
Is it really?
No.
Okay.
No, it's
Is
not.
Lansing your favorite city?
No. I don't have a favorite
Grand
city.
Rapids?
I haven't been to enough cities to have a favorite city.
That's ridiculous.
My hometown, Traverse City.
I think if you've been to one city, you have a favorite by default.
Not necessarily.
I think so.
What if you don't like that town?
Favorite doesn't necessarily mean you like it.
Yeah, I think it does.
It means you like it the most.
But what if I don't like it the most?
Then you must have a favorite.
What if I like suicide better than the town I live in? That's not my favorite town.
Apples and oranges.
Yeah, you are confusing them. Don't. Favorite.
You ever bite into an orange and think it's an apple?
Never have.
Okay.
I could tell you a story about a banana. No, I don't.
I'm waiting.
I don't have any story about it. Well, I do have one, but I'm not going to talk about it.
Good.
But we do have lots of stories to discuss.
I have a story about an apple.
Sure, go ahead.
I can't share it.
Okay. You can't share the apple? Or was that the joke?
Or the story. I can't share the story. Let's move on.
Wow. I'm lost. All right. First, I want to say happy belated birthday. Your birthday was a few days ago.
It was.
You're 29 again?
That's what I heard.
What, your birthday or you're 29?
All of that. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember dates. I thought I was 29 for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. But the opposite way of how people normally do it, I turned 28, thought I'd turned 29.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next year, I was like, oh, I'm turning 30. And my wife was like, no. I was like, what? And I had to... Math is really difficult.
Numbers are hard.
It is. Yeah.
Also, there's a couple of numbers. 9/11. That was the what?
That's who you call if you need
17
help.
18 years.
If the Ghostbusters aren't available. 17 years.
2001.
years. 17 years.
Yeah.
Math is hard.
Numbers are hard.
Yep.
A lot of conspiracies out there about that.
Oh, yeah.
God,
Are you
my
kidding me?
Facebook page was just loaded with people. It's amazing how many idiots out there think that planes really crashed into the... No, I mean, just the opposite. They didn't find any black boxes. That's not true. They found Flight 77. They found both of them. That was the one in Pennsylvania. What are the chances they're going to find the ones that went
the 93, wasn't it?
Flight 93. I don't know.
93, yeah. So it wasn't real.
Well, they found 77. Oh, that was...
At the Flight 93 crash site?
77 was the Pentagon.
See, this is not adding up.
The Pentagon.
George Bush did it in the CIA.
I think they found it. Anyways, the chances of finding them after the towers collapsed on top of them are... do people think that they're indestructible? Is that it? They just think that there's nothing that can destroy it? They're only designed to... I read up. They're only designed to sustain 30 minutes in 1800 degree Fahrenheit heat which is pretty good, but they're not designed to withstand some of the stuff that happened when they hit those buildings. Not only that, but when it all collapses on top of everything, it gets shoveled up in the debris.
It's awfully weird how passports didn't burn in the heat, though.
Specific ones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. And a lot of stuff you hear is just not true. It's just rumor. I mean, it's...
Of course.
There was not one single piece of the airplane found in Pennsylvania or at the Pentagon. And then you show them pictures of all the airplane parts and pieces.
Yeah, I
and
saw
then they're like,
it looks like somebody set that there.
Yes.
Like, what? How exactly does a plane crash, like, lay out on the... I mean, what's the difference?
Well, I liked...
It's ridiculous.
And I liked the thought of the government driving around everywhere in the world with pieces of airplane in their vans just in case there's some kind of crash they need to cover up.
Well, no, they prepared for it. They weren't covering up a crash. They shot the Pentagon with a missile.
Right.
And then put little plane pieces.
There's not one video of that except... Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah. Well, but there was a video that circulated that didn't show it. I saw a video and you could not see the plane, so I assumed
I think it was because it was a time-delayed type of
I assumed
video.
that was proof.
Yeah, but there's another one that shows it going right into the Pentagon. And why didn't it make wing indentations like a cartoon?
Yeah, why?
Because the Pentagon was built to sustain nuclear attack, and those wings are fragile.
Yeah.
People think airplanes are really solid and well built. They're not. They're damn aluminum, lightweight. They're riveted together. I'm surprised they even fly at all.
Well, okay, so flying is pretty miraculous.
It's not miraculous. It's pretty well understood.
It's miraculous. It isn't well understood.
Yeah, it is.
No.
So, yeah, there is, or they wouldn't be able to do it. Well, you have sex. You don't really understand that either.
Doesn't make any sense. Things happen all the time that people don't understand.
No, I'm saying but we didn't build something and say, oh, I accidentally built a plane here. I don't know how we did that and how it flies.
Do you know how antennas work?
I don't know how anything really works.
Oh, that's true.
I just take it on faith. Now, my point is...
You're pretty good at describing or explaining the activities of rocks.
Well, they can be interesting.
I don't think
You ever watch a volcano?
Well, by the way, I appreciate all the labels that you put on my rocks outside. Yeah. And so now I know what every single rock...
Nice.
There's like 2,000 rocks out there. And
that paint will stay on there for a long time.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
So anyways, the other thing is, they're saying, well, it doesn't look like any other air crash out there. And that's true. That's because it's unique. There are no other crashes like that to compare to see what it should be like. Most crashes take place, and they're controlled landings for the most part. The pilots are trying to slow down. They're trying to level it out. So, of course, the planes are trying
to... deliberately crashing into things,
What they think, they estimated that the Pennsylvania was... When it hit the ground, it was going 500 miles an hour in a downward position,
Well, when it gets shot by the U.S. military, that's what happens.
I guess. even if it was shot down, you can have some control often on an
Not
airplane.
if the pilot gets hit.
They had plenty of pilots there. They were all trained by Saudi Arabians. Well, they were trained by us, I guess. Some of those guys were taking flight classes in, Minnesota.
So anyway, I didn't mean to spend...
I could, though. I could. So it's silly, and it's Occam's razor. And how come I just closed out my...
I think I think it's simpler than Occam's razor, which means it's pretty darn simple.
Well, what do you mean simpler than Occam's razor? Occam's razor is just a principle to apply to seeing which one is more likely.
Right, and it's simpler than that. What are you doing?
I closed out my prep page, and I'm having a rough time getting it up.
Okay, well, let's just continue with more
do what you want.
uplifting news, since this is how you apparently wanted to start the show when you rearranged it quickly before the show.
I didn't do anything. 911 thing was right where you put it.
I don't know. You wanted to talk about Hurricane Florence.
Guess what my computer's doing?
Is it rebooting?
Yeah.
Good.
It's shutting down and rebooting.
Okay. It's good timing. Oh, so was mine. Good. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, good. Logging off. This will be 20 minutes.
Well, the show will be over by the time it comes back up.
And it's been low memory again?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You should get a new one.
I really should. I don't know what to get. I'm scared. If I had a computer guy that I knew.
I'm sure you have some on Facebook, friends on Facebook that know something about computers.
I don't trust anybody on Facebook.
I wouldn't either. Hurricane Florence.
I wouldn't know.
Going to land soon, right?
Saturday-ish.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
what I
that
read
moved up
earlier.
a little bit, actually.
Maybe.
Into Friday. So that's interesting.
Were you the one that sent me
weekend.
the tower out in the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, from Frying Pan Tower.
Pancake. I thought it was pancake.
I think it's Frying Pan Tower. It's
an old oil rig or something, isn't
No,
it?
it's an old lighthouse.
Oh.
It was built to house a few Coast Guard members, and it's like 30-ish miles offshore.
Yeah.
And it's not used as a lighthouse anymore,
Right.
but that's what it was. But they have some cameras on it.
They had an American flag up. That
They
was getting,
did. I looked at it shortly before the show. It's still flying.
Good.
Because the American flag would do that.
Right.
But it's in several pieces and kind of just flopping around.
It's tattered.
It
looks
tattered.
Weather torn.
It looks. It got a tad breezy out there.
It was whipping.
They also have an underwater camera so you can see the sea life. You couldn't.
No. It's
It was
kind of
pretty
churned
dark.
up.
Yeah, it was pretty dark. But
All the fish were smart. They went inland.
and I don't.
They were getting hotel rooms at the Holiday
Well, they're
Inn.
getting sucked up by the hurricane, like
Maybe.
the sharks.
Yeah.
They're
Sharknadoes?
gonna land in Tennessee. I heard. I don't know if when I looked earlier, you could see some of the platform that the camera was on. You know, and
Yeah,
you could
the
see I think
braces.
like solar panels around it or whatever.
Oh, above ground. Or
yeah, above ground. Then when I looked before the show, the camera had turned. I don't know if somebody can control it, if it's like a pan tilt zoom camera, or if the wind had blown it.
Above?
The camera. It was
Oh.
facing kind of in a different direction than the flag
it
was. Flag was just barely in frame.
Because the underwater one was moving back and forth.
Yeah, and there's another one that shows the sky that moves.
Yeah, just as the
so
horizon.
maybe that one moves back and forth too. I wasn't sure, but holy cow, it was windy.
Yeah. And that's not even the big wind yet, I guess. The big wind.
Yeah, when I watched it earlier, I heard that the eye of the storm was still 100 miles away. What are you trying to do?
The big wind.
The big wind? Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah.
What are we, 6?
Well, I mean, Steve brought us toys.
I
and
know.
that's
These
what
are
we're
great
gonna do.
sound effect
Thanks,
stuff.
Steve. You're the best.
Yeah. This is what he went to college for, if he actually went to college.
For what? Ordering things from China?
Well, that's his extent of his engineering and his sound engineering degree. Oh, starting Windows. Really?
This is my favorite.
Fart and burp.
It's my favorite.
I just want to hear Pink Floyd. I was going to say Queen again.
Is your computer on yet?
It says welcome and swirling.
Going real quick. So I guess the other thing about tornadoes is the
Tornadoes or hurricanes?
What's the difference?
One's on land and one's in the water.
Oh, I tell you, here in Michigan, I've never had any trouble with a hurricane.
No, well, I haven't.
Not direct trouble, anyway.
We had a tornado hit down about, 1,000 feet from my house.
Yeah, didn't even know about it till the next day.
Never heard a thing.
So I guess that's good. That is something that I want. I want to see.
I want to see
a tornado.
I want to experience a hurricane. I was in a 7.1 earthquake, so I got that out. I'd like to see a live volcano.
I think if you leave now, you can make it to North Carolina.
Oh, I know I could.
So go for it.
I'll take a flight.
Oh.
Might get grounded or
Thought you'd
crash in
walk.
Pennsylvania. Or get shot down over Pennsylvania. There we go.
Yep. So,
Did you turn off my mic?
yeah, no, not your mic, your computer.
Oh, I can do that.
This morning, Trump decided, for some reason, I'm not sure why, he decided to go on a Twitter rant about the number of deaths from the 2 hurricanes in Puerto Rico. Because originally, I don't know if you remember, I think I heard at one point the death toll was like
Under 100.
50, 54, something like that. Just recently, the mayor or probably governor, I'm not sure, decided to declare the death toll around 3,000, like 200.
Well, there was a study done by a
2,900.
university.
Yeah,
No,
it was George Washington University.
Okay.
They did a research study, and they decided to use that number, 3,000. But think about that. That's a huge number.
Right, but
That's a lot.
But this is where statistics, this is where data, this is where numbers matter, and how you describe things and how you rate things. It's one thing if you're talking about the immediate effect of the hurricane. You were crushed by buildings that were falling, you drowned, you exploded in gas leaks, something that happened during or immediately after the hurricane. But what they were looking at is deaths up to 6 months to a year afterwards. And this isn't the first time these studies do that.
Yeah.
And that's fine if you want to study that. I think that's certainly
it could be useful information.
Useful information. It helps you prepare what to expect. But be honest about it. Because it's hard to say if you have a 70 or 80-year-old person and they die 6 months after the hurricane to actually attribute it to the cause of the hurricane, or would they have died naturally? That's hard to distinguish that.
I think it's almost a little worse than that. Because I think what they actually did is took the number of people who probably would have died anyway, and then they calculated the additional risk of death from the hurricane in the 6 months,
which is hard to do,
and then added that number, or did so you're 6% more
some
likely.
kind of analysis.
So then, if 100 people would have normally died, you're 6% more likely. So 106 probably died from the hurricane, and so the number is 106. It makes sense for estimating things.
Well, they look at other things too, like the year previous. They'll look at the time span.
Yeah, exactly.
And they look at how many people
exactly
died.
But that doesn't tell you how many people actually died.
No, and
how many died in Katrina? How many died in the hurricane Irene? Was it the one that hit Texas?
I can't keep
Not
up with
3,000.
No.
I mean, 3,000 is much closer to the number of people that died, like on September 11th.
All right. That may or may never have happened.
Oh, jeez. Well, maybe it never. I never saw the Twin Towers in person.
I saw a video, but we know how that can be manipulated.
How do you know if this radio show is even real?
It's not real good right now, or maybe ever.
I watched the Joe Rogan Elon Musk.
Oh, tell me about that! I'm just dying to hear about that.
Elon Musk is a nutcase.
Couple of potheads smoking pot.
Yeah.
God. And then he has the audacity to fire employees that test positive for pot.
Even
when they had a medical marijuana card.
I mean, they're working in manufacturing. He isn't, so okay. But he
just controls everything in the whole world.
You know what's kind of sad though is that there was a lot of like real meat to that interview.
Stop. What's really sad is 3,000 people dying from a hurricane.
I don't think 3,000 people died from hurricanes in Puerto Rico.
Well, that would be sad.
I think Trump's probably right that this isn't true, and it was aimed to make it look worse for him.
Sure.
So they can have multiple Katrinas. It's Trump's Katrina, right? Like that's the thing. But I don't know why he.
Why did he take the bait?
The thing is, I appreciate his consistency. If the media does something that he doesn't like, he speaks out against it.
Right.
I appreciate that he's consistent with that. I don't know if this was the best idea. Because now they're saying, you're insensitive, you hate Puerto Ricans. Right. It doesn't matter if there were millions of bottles of water that we found that were never distributed. It doesn't matter.
Money squandered and embezzled.
Matter.
And the mayor is going to jail. Well, that was fun.
My point was the Elon Musk interview. He took a hit of a joint. Okay, what do you have? Go for it.
Steve's got a fatty over there that we can light up.
Yeah, he smoked with Elon.
Yeah. No, anyways, go ahead. I really do want to hear because you.
No, I wasn't going to talk about the interview. What I was going to say is there was a lot of meat to the interview, but it all got overshadowed.
You get hungry when you smoke pot.
I don't know if they ate anything. It got overshadowed with the 10 seconds of Elon Musk taking a hit of a joint.
How long?
Well, the whole, I don't know,
10 seconds?
It wasn't a 10-second hit. What I'm saying is he had to. I mean,
Light it up
go
and-
watch it. It's on
I don't
YouTube.
want to watch it.
My point is, I don't.
Where's your munchies that you got for your birthday?
They're over there.
Oh.
It got a lot of attention. Thank you for that, by the
You
way.
should hold it up and show them what we're going to eat after we smoke pot.
I don't smoke pot.
I don't either.
So I guess we're never eating?
Wait a minute, where is it? We sell it, though. Oh, no. It's even worse. All right. Yeah, I mean, were you surprised that he smoked pot? Or were
No.
you surprised that he did it on camera?
I'm not surprised because I think he's really bad at dealing with peer pressure. Because he's like...
He's a nerd.
A nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to have... He's super smart. He's a good engineer, I think. I rarely hear him give credit to his team, which are the people that build everything.
Right.
And I'm not even sure if he has all the ideas that he says he has.
I'm
They
sure he
come from
doesn't.
somebody. He rarely gives them credit.
Like Henry Ford. He had a good team.
Yeah. It's really important. So I wasn't surprised. I figured when I was watching it, like, he's going to. And he did. And then it was like, but who cares? I mean, that's the thing, like, who cares?
Yeah, I don't care either. It's like Paul McCartney with his statement.
Okay, but look, that doesn't, I mean, he's
But
releasing,
Bridget Bardot was not harmed.
you know, his,
That's what he said.
it was Winston Churchill.
That's what John said. John had a kink.
Paul McCartney has an album coming out.
I know. It's
What a coincidence.
Double Eagle or something. I don't know what's it called. You know?
All this build-up, I can't wait for Trump to release his album.
Really? He's doing an album?
No, why not? I think he should. Is that cheering?
Yeah, it's applause, cheering.
I don't have...
That's more like it.
All right, are you back? You want to take a break?
Oh, really? Oh, you installed updates. That's what's taking all my memory, you little... No, it's only 20 after or so. 22 after. We got a few minutes.
Oh, you're back. That was quick.
Yeah. I'm good. I just stared at it and wished it.
Are we done with the hurricanes?
I guess. I'd rather talk more about the conspiracies, but all right.
No, I don't want to do that. Let's talk about hate crimes. I mean, this is...
You know what I hate?
all positive, all day.
You know what I hate?
Crimes?
Hate crimes. I hate them.
Okay. Well,
Are we done?
well, I think you're in alignment with the Metropolitan Police in the UK.
Isn't that where Paul McCartney is from?
He could not be accused of a hate crime, I don't think.
Oh, he loved it.
He embraces homosexuality.
It just makes... I don't know if that's a homosexual act, but it makes gives new meaning to the song "Come Together."
Stop.
All right. So, what did the UK do, Nate?
The Metropolitan Police put out some advice and information about hate crimes and what is a hate crime. They put some definitions and,
No one
and told
knows.
you what to do. Nobody knows, except now there's a definition.
And it could be whatever
A
you
hate
want.
crime is when someone commits a crime against you because of your disability, gender identity, race, sexual orientation, religion, or any other perceived difference.
What about non-religious?
Someone using offensive language towards you or harassing you because of who you are or who they think you are is also a crime.
So you fat bastard.
The same goes
That's
for
me.
someone posting abusive or offensive messages about you online. If this happens to you, tell us so we can investigate.
But what does it say? It doesn't even have to be to you.
Yeah, evidence. Listen,
You
this
can-
is great. Evidence of a hate element is not a requirement. You do not need to personally perceive the incident to be hate-related, even. So you don't have to have evidence of a hate element, and you don't even have to think it was a hate crime. It would be enough if another person,
Saw
a
it.
witness,
Yeah.
or even a police officer,
Ooh, God
thought
forbid.
that the incident was hate-related.
So what I'm thinking of doing is murdering you,
Okay,
but not murdering you.
I don't get it.
Well, what is an element of murder? taking a life.
And I don't even...
But if I don't need the element of taking of a life to be charged with murder...
That's good.
Then what the hell?
You know what? That's good. If I wasn't unsure that it's not some sort of felony to do this, I would report that to the Metropolitan Police in the UK.
What, that you
but
were
I'm
murdered?
worried that there may be some law here about making false reports to a foreign
national or
police
country?
department or
I
something.
doubt there is.
Well, try it.
All right, dial them up.
I'll tell them I was murdered.
But not really, because it's not an
But it
element
wasn't.
of a crime.
Actually, we need a witness. Steve witnessed it.
Right.
He can report it because I didn't even perceive it as a murder.
No. And I didn't even murder you, so now I'm really confused.
Not all hate incidents will amount to a criminal offense,
Oh,
but
that's
it is
good.
equally important that these are reported and recorded by the police.
You imagine if a cop was sitting in an Irish pub at, let's say, 1 a.m. and listened to all of the, "You bloody bastard, you fat so-and-so, those would be all hate crimes.
Yeah. Hate crime is defined as any criminal offense which is perceived by the victim or any other person to be motivated by hostility or prejudice based on person's race or perceived race, religion or perceived religion, sexual orientation or perceived sexual orientation, disability or perceived disability, and any crime motivated by hostility or prejudice against a person who is transgender or perceived to be transgender.
Listen, you limey, no good, rotten Protestant fat pig. Oh, you're going to jail, buddy.
This is silly.
It's 1984.
It's silly. They're getting crazy over there. They're getting real crazy over there.
Don't think that people over here aren't looking at that.
Oh, I mean, that's really because I don't.
Same with Canada.
I care about human rights and that in general, but I don't actually care what they do over there. Like, if you want to live there, cool.
Right.
But it's more important to talk about it because it's a warning.
Right.
I mean, we have people that are trying to head down the same path. Every time something, I mean, guns is probably the big example. They say, look at the UK, look at England. They're doing great with gun control. We need to follow their lead.
Not so well on knife control.
Not or free speech
or baseball or free speech or handling terrorists.
I don't think you can say terrorist.
That would be hateful.
It may be perceived. So you can't harass a terrorist or a perceived terrorist,
especially if they're like overweight or of a certain religion,
or not a certain religion,
or
or just perceived to be
a different religion or a different race or whatever.
Holy cow! I don't like it.
All right, we can go. Wait a minute. We can go into, where is it? It's Brian's weekly trivia question. This will be a real easy one.
Okay.
As they all are, right?
Yes.
It's a political question.
Okay.
This person, while campaigning for president nomination in 1972, what governor was shot and paralyzed?
Oh.
You want me to say it again?
Yes.
While campaigning for a presidential nomination in 1972, what governor was was shot and paralyzed too soon?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I was trying to get the question over. I didn't make the connection to what you're actually saying.
Yeah, and you.
So that was really insensitive. I'm sorry.
You did
to
a
that governor.
gunshot.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We got to do this. That's our live studio audience. They, ooh, streaker. I like naked women.
Okay, what was the...
You know, I was worried that I was going to be playing with them too much, and it's you.
Oh, they're so stupid. It was, I like them.
I know.
Did you finish the question?
While campaigning for president in 1972, what governor was shot and paralyzed?
We'll be right back.
Lock it in. And rip the knob off. Red State Talk Radio.
My Parents Open Carry, a pro-gun kids book from White Feather Press. 13-year-old Brenna and her parents spend their day in typical fashion. But what's not so typical is that Brenna's parents lawfully open carry handguns for self-defense. And the Strongs join a growing number of families who are standing up for their Second Amendment right and bringing gun ownership out of the closet. Order your copy of this unique kids book at myparentsopencarry.com.
It's a bumpy ride through the political jungle with Nate and Brian.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 877-219-8770 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 877-219-8770 to take your call now. Call 877-219-8770. That's 877-219-8770. Again, 877-219-8770.
Whenever I'm feeling a little down under, I can always count on Nate and Brian for their interesting perspective on topics important to freedom and civil rights by listening to the At Odds Show. Nate and Brian cover important topics with insight, intelligence, and of course humor. I can always expect a laugh or two. So if you want to be informed and have a great time, give these guys a listen.
At Odds.
The At Odds Show with the greatest political talk show hosts in history, Nate and Brian. And it's sad that they actually believe that. So give a listen because the delusional need love too.
Are you looking for some way cool t-shirts? Check out ChugDug.com. They have hundreds of crazy fun t-shirts like gun, patriotic, and you better believe zombie shirts. At ChugDug.com, you'll find quality shirts at a quality price. All shirts start at just $10 with free shipping over $50. Mention Radio 1 coupon code at checkout and grab a cool 10% off. That's ChugDug.com. T-shirts with attitude.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just go to 10ignoremyscore.com right now. That's www.10ignoremyscore.com. Auto financing the easy way. 10ignoremyscore.com. Get started today. Auto financing the easy way.
Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Nate.
If you like the At Odds Show,
And we know you do.
why not order your very own At Odds t-shirt sizes small to 6XL in a cool black color?
So support our show. Check out the great prices at chugdug.com or head over to our website, atoddshow.com, and click the link.
And, unlike listening to our show, you won't be disappointed.
All right, I'm Nate. That's Brian over there.
Hi. Welcome back.
You asked a question about a governor or something.
Some governor while campaigning for a presidential nomination for the Democratic Party in 1972, what Alabama governor was shot and paralyzed?
All right, we got a lot of guesses.
Yeah.
Tell me if any of these are correct.
All right.
Okay. Rick Snyder?
Nope.
Gerald Ford?
Not paralyzed. Nope.
Bill de Blasio?
Not governors.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Nope.
Rick Astley?
No.
None of them? Also, we got to guess Wallace?
We did have a correct guess. Yes! It was George Wallace. On May 15th, 1972, he was shot 5 times.
Holy cow.
By Arthur Bremer. I remember watching that on television, when it happened. He was campaigning in Laurel Shopping Center in Laurel, Maryland. So stay out of Maryland.
Just Laurel.
Laurel, Maryland. I don't know where Laurel, Maryland is.
I feel like I've been there.
I'm not even sure where Maryland is.
Is that a state?
I've been there.
Why was he campaigning in Maryland if he was the governor of Alabama?
I hunted geese in Maryland.
Did you really?
God, lots of geese.
Did you get any?
We shot a lot of geese. And we ate a lot of raw oysters right out of Chesapeake Bay. I mean, the boat pulled up to the bar and offloaded it, and from the boat into our bellies.
Wow.
Still had seaweed and everything on it. Duck poop and everything. They might have rinsed them off. I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter.
Get a dozen of fresh oysters, still cold from the water, the Chesapeake. Slurp them down with a nice cold beer. Good times. And crab cakes. Had crab cakes as often as I could. But I digress.
Okay.
All right. This day in history, coincidentally.
Wow. Coincidentally.
On this day, in 1998, George Wallace, one of the most controversial politicians in U.S. history, dies in Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh.
He was 79. Do you know when he first ran, the first time he made a gubernatorial race in 1958? All right? Guess who endorsed him?
George Bush?
What
Jimmy
group?
Carter?
What group endorsed him?
Oh, the NRA.
No. The NAACP.
Wow.
Yeah. His opponent was endorsed by the KKK and won by a huge landslide.
Yeah.
You know what he learned by that?
No.
He learned that he needs to get the KKK to endorse him, and 4 years later he ran again, this time as a fiery segregationalist. He wanted to keep the races apart for as long as ever. Segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever was his campaign.
Yeah, wow. What a loser.
Promise. But it only lasted
Who shot him?
Bremer. Arthur Bremer. I got a story about
He
that.
almost deserved to be shot.
I can tell you a story about that 2 days before Wallace was shot.
You don't have to.
I'm gonna, because it's a good story. Anyways,
Did he cut him off and take his parking spot?
Segregation didn't last because that was just 6 months later that he had to enroll African American students in white schools.
Good.
All right. So when in 1972, when he was campaigning, I was friends with quite a brilliant guy. He was strange though, libertarian. But for some reason, he liked Wallace, and Wallace was getting very popular. And there's a chance that he might have gotten close to the nomination as a Democrat. But he went, George Wallace was in Grand Rapids, Michigan,
Okay.
at the airport. And my buddy was a Wallace supporter and volunteer and was there with the volunteers. And he was on the paddock where the plane was, and
Yep.
big crowd there, and he's trying to get closer to shake Wallace's hand, and he gets elbowed by this guy, not a cop, just some guy. And he says, I'm going to go see Wallace. And he says, no, you're not. And he elbowed him again. He goes, unless you're a cop or something, I'm going up there to see him. And somebody saw them tussling, and it was a reporter said, does he have a gun? And everybody said, he's got a gun!
Yeah, boy.
And they all jumped on top of him. And my friend was 6'4", and 280 pounds. He was not small. But they had a 6'7" deputy that jumped on him.
Okay. All right.
They took him and held him for 5 hours.
Holy cow.
And the Wallace people had to come and say, hey, you got to let him go because he didn't do anything wrong.
Did he have a gun?
He didn't have a gun. No, he didn't want to do anything. But he said, where the hell were they in Laurel, Maryland? Just a couple of days later.
Good question.
By the way, Wallace was ahead in Michigan. He had a big sport group in Michigan. All right. Let's move on. We're going to talk about hurricanes?
Yeah. Are there any coming up?
I want to talk about a friend of mine, a longtime college professor in Southern Nevada. Sociology professor.
Mr. Bird?
Mark. I call him Mark.
Okay. I call him Mr. J. Bird.
Mr. J. Bird. That sounds good.
Okay.
Give him the bird, Mark. So anyways, there was Mark the Bird Fidrich was a pitcher for the Detroit Tigers.
Same guy?
No.
Okay.
Mark, sadly, is dead. Not this guy.
This guy probably couldn't pitch very well anymore.
Not anymore, because he's facing several felony gun charges in connection with an on-campus shooting on the second day of classes.
Wow.
Now,
not a mass shooting, though.
No.
That's
Just
good.
a single shooting. He was charged last month with discharging a gun within a prohibited structure, carrying a concealed weapon without a permit, and possessing a dangerous weapon on school property. He was found bleeding from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his arm at 8:15 outside the bathroom on Campus K building.
He was nice about it, though.
He was. This guy's a gentleman.
When you shoot yourself, it's messy.
It's messy. So what he did is the police found a $100 bill taped to a mirror, along with a note that said, "For the janitor."
I mean, that's a heck of a tip.
Yeah.
You think the janitor got it?
No, it was gathered as evidence, I suspect.
Yeah.
But if you're going to shoot yourself in an arm and you want to make an impression, what caliber would you use?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Smallest one I could find.
Really? If you want to make an impression and you're going to shoot yourself for political reasons, wouldn't you use like a 50 caliber? And just blow that arm right off?
I don't.
If you're going to sacrifice yourself for the cause.
This is not something that I've ever contemplated.
Me either. So he used a 22.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. He was hired in '93. He was an emeritus faculty member, and he wasn't teaching classes at the time. He shot himself, he said, in protest of President Donald Trump.
I mean,
Good
Trump's nearly impeached now because of this guy.
If he would have used a 50 cal,
That would have
it would have been
right
a
over the
done
edge.
deal.
Trump would be gone already.
So this guy's a moron. You know, and I don't know how old he is. Maybe he had dementia. Who knows? But he is a sociology professor. But I don't want to say that because I have friends that are sociology professors, and I don't really know this guy.
So you don't want to say he had dementia?
I can
don't
say
understand. But, all right. Yeah. What a moron. I mean, I'm tempted to say don't shoot yourself in protest. I think it's a bad idea.
Or shoot anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, don't shoot anyone ever unless you need to, but
Right.
never do it in protest.
Unless they need a good shooting.
Yeah, some people do. Like segregationist Wallace guy there.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Speaking of shootings, I don't think we've had a single piece of good news this whole show.
we haven't yet. Will we? No.
No, because we're almost done, and
I know
that's it.
Do we want to talk about this poor man who's just chilling in his own apartment when some crazy woman comes in, starts yelling commands at you to get down and boogie and do all kinds of stuff, and when he's like, what the hell, gets shot and killed.
Yeah.
Amber Geyer killed Botham Shem Jean when she went into his apartment thinking it was hers.
Yeah.
Oopsie. Now, it's odd because she said, I put the key in and the door opened. So I'm thinking either the keys are key-like for whatever reason.
I think it was unlocked.
But I think it was unlocked, and she didn't realize that. And she sees somebody in what she thinks is her apartment. She reacts like a police officer. He reacts like it's a home invasion.
Well, she reacts like a police officer because she is.
Right. And to be fair, her apartment was exactly on the floor below. And I'm sure they all look pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But,
I buy that the story is plausible. For sure,
Definitely.
you could walk into the wrong apartment. The next question is, does that excuse her murdering somebody?
No.
Or killing somebody?
Killing, because it's not a murder.
Okay.
It's not. Murder involves, actual intent and premeditation and that kind of stuff.
Murder does not necessarily involve premeditation.
Yeah, kind of.
I think it involves pointing a gun at somebody and pulling the trigger. It's not accidental.
No, but listen, when you shoot somebody in self-defense, you're not trying to murder them.
Right.
You're trying to stop a threat.
Right.
So it's not murder.
That's the question.
Well, the question is, in Texas, they looked at all the statutes, and the best thing was whatever she got charged with. I think we talked about that in there, but it was like manslaughter or negligent homicide or something. It was less than murder. They didn't think that it met they could prove it that it was murder. And I don't think it was, unless they find there's some history between the two of them and, they were having an affair or something like that, then maybe you could say, well, maybe it was a murder.
I saw something in the defense in their argument that he didn't obey the orders of a police officer.
Right.
Of course he didn't.
Right,
that's
because
I
she was
don't
not
think
in
she
uniform.
was in uniform.
No, she was not.
She bust into his apartment, in the dark.
And I don't know what time of day it was.
It says the apartment was dark.
Right. So I'm assuming it was the evening, because that's usually when it's dark, right?
It's crazy.
Unless you're in a hurricane.
Right. So I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
Now, there was a witness, though, that said they heard... Now, witnesses are usually not reliable. But one witness reported hearing a woman yelling, "Let me in! Let me in!" before the gunshots, and a man's voice saying, "Oh, my God, why did you do that?" If that's true, that raises some questions.
Yeah.
Doesn't jive with what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. A lot of people are upset because, she's getting away with a lot of stuff because she's a police officer. And if you and I were to do that similar thing,
it seems like she's getting, actual justice served. Like, they're actually looking at it objectively and going through it and not overreacting. It seems, from what I've seen, that she's getting the proper treatment. The problem is most ordinary people don't seem to get that treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the real issue.
They're given more of a benefit of the doubt that,
that should be the case.
Give more credence to their...
That should be the case for everybody.
Testimony.
You should. I mean, that's the idea, right? Is that you have the benefit of the doubt.
You are innocent until they can prove you guilty.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. It's a pretty clear-cut case, depending on how good her attorneys are and how they pick the jury. They could have it even reduced more or found not guilty and say, oops, it was an honest mistake. I'm sure it was. But we'll see. How much time we got? Ooh, not much.
No, here's some good news.
Go ahead.
In California, San Francisco.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know about this law. Did you?
Yeah, it was almost 100 years old. 1923 law banned any handgun ads at gun shops that were visible from outside the store. Now, so you couldn't put a sign up in the window, or you couldn't have a sign outside,
right? Or on your
on the building,
sign
or
on
out in the parking lot, or anywhere.
But you could long guns.
Yeah, just handgun ads were banned.
Just handgun ads now,
because handguns are dangerous.
So this finally it went, and the judge overturned that. And the idea was the state officials argued that those kinds of images would spur impulsive people to buy a handgun. And impulsive people are more prone to suicide and crime.
Very impulsive.
But the judge said, gun shops, they could already display a large DN sign that said guns, 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 or a 15-foot depiction of a sporting rifle.
Yeah.
He said you could even have handgun ads a block down the road on a billboard.
Yeah, you just couldn't have it at your store.
You couldn't have it at your store. Said the government may not restrict speech that persuades adults who are neither criminals nor suffer from mental illness from purchasing a legal and constitutionally protected product merely because it distrusts their personality trait and the decision that personality trait may lead them to make later down the road, the judge said. If you are someone who is providing a constitutionally protected product or service, you should be able to communicate that to people in the same way a bookseller should be able to advertise they sell Bibles or the Koran. Of course, the state's looking into this. We're going to review the decision.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see.
But that's good news.
Okay.
I think it's a win for free speech.
Yeah, so the government cannot censor commercial speech in a paternalistic effort to keep citizens from making unpopular choices or choices the government doesn't approve of. Good for them. Do you want to go up to Israel, or do you want to save that for another day?
Let's save that one.
All right. Are we almost to the end? Well, we got a few minutes.
Getting there.
You want to do this one?
I don't know. Yes, I don't know which one you're talking about.
You can see my cursor.
Oh, now I can. Yeah, if I'm looking directly at it, but what if I'm not?
Well, look at it.
I could be scrolled up or down. I don't like to scroll, but I could.
Too many choices. Too many sounds.
Just push one.
Has to be a gun. All right.
Speaking of guns.
It seems that there was a detective. Where was this? Damn it.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I thought it was in Philadelphia. Baltimore? Mm-hmm. All right. Who had already pleaded guilty to corruption charges, testified that he and his partners were told to carry replicas and BB guns in case we accidentally hit somebody or got into a shootout so we could plant them.
I'm just...
Go ahead.
If you get into a shootout, why would you need to plant a gun? Because being in a shootout, I think, kind of implies that the other party has guns.
It implies return fire.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. Right. I mean, I guess it does. But cops can shoot at you if they see you drawing a gun. You don't necessarily have the opportunity to shoot.
Is that a shootout?
But that's not really a shootout.
Yeah, and they have a gun, so you don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to put a BB gun on them.
I didn't catch that. Good catch. Poor journalism. All right. So we could plant them.
Quoted.
Oh yeah, it's a quote.
I think this detective just Maurice Ward.
Now Ward said that that's the detective. He said he didn't say whether it was ever used, the tactic. But we've heard stories like this for decades. I mean, I think ever since there were revolvers and police officers in bad shootings, they've had throwaway guns.
Well, and there's this other detective, Marcus Taylor, had a firearm on him when he was arrested.
Yeah, he had one. So they were heeding their sergeant's
advice.
Whether
he was going to plant it or not, don't know. But
you never know. Might need
crazy, isn't it?
You know, cops often carried switchblades with them for the same purpose. Didn't have to be a gun. You know, oh, he had a knife. I shot him. That happens, and has happened.
Yep.
And it used to be a real gun they would throw away, but they're getting expensive. You know, so the cops go out and.
Well, I wouldn't want to give up a real gun.
Airsoft. And now that they get away with shooting kids with guns,
you have to
it'll work.
You have to think. I think the majority of police officers wouldn't do it, but I
would hope so.
You have to think all of these cases that we've heard in the last couple of years of people being shot, and then we find out, well, the cop thought it was a real gun. They reacted in the moment. It seemed justified, but it was a fake gun.
Right. Did they really have it, or was it planted? And we have cops incriminating themselves with body cams, planting drugs.
Right.
So, we know that happens
becoming
as well.
Difficult, Brian. It's becoming difficult.
What we need is artificial intelligent robots like RoboCop, so that are totally by the book, impartial, and never have any malfunctions at all.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell you a story, actually. We're almost at the end, though.
Okay.
So I was on the bus.
Yeah.
And
which bus?
Just a bus.
Was it the short bus?
It was a school bus.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't. It was a city bus. And a blind person got on. So I got up, I gave him my seat, and I moved to the back of the bus.
That's nice. Because he smelled?
No, he was blind. I figured it would be easier for him to sit towards the front.
There are no other seats?
The problem is, I don't think I'll ever be hired as a bus driver again. Get it? We're out of time.
Jeez, that was terrible.
I thought it was good. I'm dropping all the marbles. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Search and discover.